you all so much for joining me. I'm going to bring you a preview of updated news, and then we'll get right into the content for this live stream, which is Sade Robinson, more body parts have surfaced. And also, Leilani Simon, her attorneys want the 911 call and the interviews suppressed. But let's get to O.J. Simpson. His bank of America card has been auctioned off. Very crazy situation. Hold on, I'm trying to get me a little more light. Hold on. Thank you all so much. Sorry about that. Little dim. My light goes up and down because of the room. Sorry about that. So let's see what's going on here. NDD is the source of the information pertaining to O.J. Simpson. As everyone knows, he has passed away, has been cremated. Okay, so here we go. It says Jonathan Lepore is selling the business account card over at Golden Auctions. Lepore purchased a card which expired in 2023 on eBay last summer for a steal of $70, adding it to the trove of sports memorabilia. Okay. It says presented is a Bank of America Visa business credit card originally issued to former USC Buffalo Bills and San Francisco 49ers tailback O.J. Simpson. I don't know why he would want to sell this card. This is very bizarre to me, but that's some of the latest information. And once again, as I told you, his attorney has backtracked his negative statements pertaining to giving any type of money to the Goldmans. He will follow through with Nevada law pertaining to any suits or any debts that have been accrued by Mr. Simpson. Then he will follow the law as to who will get any type of funds from O.J. Simpson's estate. And that's the latest on that information. I'm just going through my little database, everybody, pertaining to updated news. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday. It's okay here in the high 10s. It's not real warm, but it's seasonable. Robin Howington, who's accused of murdering her child, 5-year-old daughter Destiny, back in 2019, she got her fate in court yesterday, and she's to receive 22 years on the said felony child neglect charge. So just bringing you the update pertaining to that information. The situation with O.J. Simpson, because there's interest on the money owed, sorry about this, 100 plus million, I believe it's 113 million owed, assumingly to the Goldman and the Brown family, because the suit was two people suing, two families suing. Very sick situation. There's one story I want to bring you a little bit later about a dirty police officer, and we'll get to that at another time. But yes, $113 million from the time they won the lawsuit many years ago. Interest has grown on the said money. And as I told you, there's different opinions of who paid what. 1 minute, Mr. Goldman says OJ didn't pay him anything. Then the next minute, there's saying he did pay a little something. So another article I read today said he paid $133,000 towards the Goldman's lawsuit, but maybe that's what he considers nothing. Mark Zuckerberg warns Facebook users not to screenshot the chats. There's some type of safety reason. Now there's some type of light that can come on to show you if somebody has saved your screenshot. So maybe it's best you be careful what you put in your Messenger account, what you text people in Messenger. Okay, just bringing you the latest. I brought you information pertaining to the women in Oklahoma, the affidavit. I've read you that said content the other day. When there's another update, I'll bring you that said information. Tennessee law to further protect property owners from squatters takes effect in July. So if you're in Tennessee, you're a property owner, know that you now have fair rights to remove a squatter from your property. And also brought you information about emergency rooms refusing to treat pregnant women, leaving one to miscarry in a lobby restroom. That's some very wicked content there. I don't know what's going on there, but I think you should have a lawsuit because no one is supposed to deny you care. I have heard of a hospital here in Farragut that you have to have insurance to go to their emergency room, but I wonder if that's the same type of situation that's going on. Sorry, I'm so dark. My lighting is so bad. Sorry about that. I do know of that one hospital in the area in Farragut, Turkey Creek. I heard that you have to have insurance with them in order to be seen. So maybe that's the situation. But still, I don't think you should be denying anyone care because a person could die. Then what? Then that's a lawsuit. You denied someone care. So whether they're pregnant or not, you shouldn't be denying anyone care. That's between them and the creditor, your creditor, to send the due bill. If they don't pay it, then your financial department sends a bill to tell them they owe money. All right. We're also getting into the new law pertaining to financing roles and setting bail. Alabama, they've had this issue as well about bail, letting certain criminals go due to their financial situation, because I guess they feel like everybody should have a fair chance at bail, at bond. But my thing is, if you have committed atrocious acts such as sexual assault against a child, there's no way your second and third time going before the court should you get a bail. That's my opinion. Now, I know that person can lie on you. There could be an allegation that's not true. So it's up to the court to decide if you're innocent or guilty. So I get that, because anybody can say that you sexually assaulted them, you touched them inappropriately. But I think if you have a charge against you and you've gone to court, you've been found guilty, or you pled guilty, let's say to sexual assault against a woman, a child, boy, whatever, you go back before a judge second time, let's say you went to prison, did time. 2 years, you get out, boom. You're back before a judge for allegation of sexual assault. I don't know. I don't think you deserve bond. That's my personal opinion. I don't. The issue with that barge that hit the bridge in Maryland, there is an investigation into that. Our United States government is investigating this because some believe that this was a deliberate act. Do you all believe that was a deliberate act to run that barge into that bridge that collapsed a few weeks ago? I don't know who's coming up with that analogy, because some people said, when the barge hit, they could see something that it lost power, or, I wasn't there, so I can't say what I saw, but anywho, I've heard that mentioned. There's also a young man, African male, African descent, young male who was a DoorDash delivery driver. He's currently missing in Chicago. If anyone has any information to his whereabouts, he was delivering from Hyde Park south to the South Loop. So if you have any information pertaining to his whereabouts or where he can be located, please call the Chicago Police Department, because that's very scary. Very young man. I think he's 24 years of age. Just bringing you all my updates, everybody, because there's so many. I'm just going through my little database here. This is a story I saw a couple of days ago. Man tried to rob store with 5-foot snake. Well, he lost that fight. Who takes a snake in to try to rob a store? He must have been high. And also, I brought you information to the young lady who died in the back of a Meigs County deputy's car. He went down the wrong road. He was new to the area as a police officer, and he had just arrested her. And he went down a road in the dark, and he had been texting his wife as well. And he went straight into the lake. He died. The young lady in the back seat who was handcuffed, she died. Well, her husband is suing the Meigs County, police department for damages for the death of his wife. Now, as I said, the woman was arrested on a bridge, arguing with some man. Now, I don't know if this was her husband she was arguing with or what, but anywho, she was the one arrested, and she's the one who also died that night because the officer drove the car down into the river. How, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't familiar with the area. It's a very strange story. Owners of the Colorado funeral home where nearly 200 bodies were found charged with COVID fraud, they have pled not guilty in court. Now, this is where this is a problem because you own the building, you claim those bodies belong to you for you to do either a burial or cremation, but yet you will go into court and say, no, we're innocent. How could you be innocent? Because you charge people for services that you did not perform. So that's fraud, wire fraud, getting money. They took money to buy, different things. We're going to go into that information. And once again, another body has been recovered from the Baltimore River where that bridge fell. So another body has been recovered. Hold on, let me give you that information too. And then we'll get back to this dirty nonsense of this funeral home. All right, this was uploaded 4 days ago, everybody. Let's see if they've got the name of the person. This is one of the construction workers that was working on the bridge. I don't see his name. They don't have his name. Can you believe this was 23 days ago when that bridge fell? It's 3 weeks ago. See, criminal case opening. Baltimore bridge collapse after FBI investigates. This is so terrible. I don't see where they're giving his name. But they didn't give it in this article here. The name of the guy found. The prayers to the families. Very sad. Hello, everybody. Which case is that, Sammy? So many, you can't keep up. All right. Once again, prayers to the victims' families, those men who perished in that bridge collapse. Now, back to this funeral home nonsense. Let me read you that brief information. Then I'm going to read my poll results, and then I'll get into the commentary, everybody. Thank you for joining me. The owners of a Colorado Springs funeral home have been indicted on federal charges, including fraud related to COVID relief funds. This is crazy. Authorities say they failed to cremate or bury at least 190 bodies they were paid to handle, dating back at least to 2019, according to court documents. John and Carrie Halford, who own Return to Nature Funeral Home in the Penrose area of Colorado Springs, were indicted on 15 charges brought by a federal grand jury in Colorado District Court. The indictment brought back previous accusations that the Halfords gave families dry concrete instead of ashes, collected more than $130,000 from families for cremations and burials they never performed, and buried the wrong body in at least 2 occasions. This is crazy. The indictment states that the couple misused over $880,000 in COVID relief funds by misrepresenting the fact that John Halford owed back child support, and by claiming that their business was not engaged in criminal activity at the time they applied for COVID-19 relief funds. So they got COVID money as well. So besides them just using the people and saying, oh yeah, here are the remains of your son, it was concrete mix. They also got money from the government for COVID relief, $880,000, almost $1 million. Okay, so a release from the U.S. Attorney's Office says they were engaging in criminal activity, by getting these fake claims for the COVID relief funds. The indictment also alleges that the pair used the money to operate their business. So how are you going to the government to get almost $1 million, but you're not burying the people? So what business were they doing? I'm confused. The federal offenses can bring potential penalties of up to $250,000 in fines, 20 years in prison. Wow. So this investigation started October 2023 after neighbors reported the putrid smell of decaying bodies, which investigators say John Halford falsely attributed to his taxidermy hobby. So another lie. The EPA has concluded the building itself is too full of biohazards to ever be reused and has scheduled an estimated 10-day demolition to begin Wednesday. So this content was uploaded, because today's the 20th, 4 days ago. So the building is going to be demolished because of biohazards. Wow. John and Carrie Halford, they are dirty, dirty, dirty. And they're also crying and moaning about walking free and being free. I told you that the other day in a live stream. You don't need to be out on bond. For what? You've already stolen money from the government, almost $1 million. You used all this money from other people who thought their loved one was buried. Why should you be walking free? So Carrie may get to go to a halfway house. That's still BS. I don't think there needs to be any halfway houses. No, nothing. Because you've been walking free anyway off of all the stolen money. BS. And once again, I brought you commentary pertaining to Mr. John Bobbitt, who was married to Lorena Bobbitt. She tried to unalive his private parts many years ago, and it was found by officers, taken to the hospital, reattached. He did a porn video shortly after this reattachment, and now 30 years later, he wants an apology from Lorena. How do you all feel about that? We're going to go into my community page and read the answers to the polls. Should Lorena Bobbitt give Mr. Bobbitt, well, she's not Miss Bobbitt anymore, excuse me. I think her last name is Gallo, excuse me. Lorena Gallo, remarried, has a child. Lorena, he wants an apology from you, your ex-husband. I think he's guilty as charged. I think they had a not so great marriage. I don't know who was jealous of who was sleeping around, who was doing what, who wasn't showing whom attention. But she claims he would sexually assault her, beat her, knock her out before forcibly raping her. So you're entitled to your opinion of what you believe he did or didn't do to her. But I think he has a guilty conscience. I think he realizes he made a mistake with her. I think he realizes he didn't work it out, that he mistreated her. And he is catching karma. All his toes have been removed from the Camp Lejeune water contamination. He currently has a lawsuit against Camp Lejeune. Biden signed in order 2022 for people to get compensations. Anybody who has been in contact with Camp Lejeune during certain years back in the 80s to about, I think, 93, 87 to 93, somewhere in there, you are entitled to compensation. And I think he's miserable. I think he realized, he's getting older. Maybe he's not in the best of health. His toes are missing. He's, reliving the life he had as a young man when he met her. I think he realizes he's wasted his life. But that's a choice, as I said to someone in the comment section this morning. It was a choice how you navigated with her. If you married her for the wrong reasons, if you married her just to get, a little maid and a sex slave, if you married her just because she needed a green card, you're going to get that back because you're not doing it for the right reasons. And for all I know, she only married him to get a green card. So you suffer the consequences when you're doing things that are not for the right reasons. Now, I don't say she deserved to get beat up because she wanted a green card. I don't say he should have got his penis cut off because he was, doing negative things to her. But if he was beating her, you're asking for anything bad to happen to you. Let me make that clear. You're beating a person, you're raping a person, all bets are off. So whether she cut the woo off, she could have cut her arm off. She could have stabbed her. I mean, what's the difference? The only difference is it's a body part that you want to use naturally. And she knew that. Don't you find it interesting? That's where she would cut it. Is cut the woo-ha. Cut the woo-ha off. Cut it off. Cut it off. And he's lucky that they found it because he would be wearing a bag had they not found it. Just saying. But I don't think she owes him an apology. Has she made peace with it? Made peace with God? I don't know. That's her business. All right, everybody. Let's go over to my community page and take the poll. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign Big Angie 129 Cash App stickers and chats. Always welcome during the live stream. Woo! Happy Saturday, everybody. Let's see what's going on the community page. Shut your mouth. All right. Here are the polls that I asked you pertaining to Riley Strain, the Bobbitts, Idaho 4, so on and so forth. Women who were murdered in Oklahoma by the nasty misfits. On 5 votes. 80% says yes, 20% says no. All right. Should Riley Strain's parents move on? Yes, 17%. 75% no, 8% not sure. Should Chrisley's receive new trial? Their daughter is going on TV shows to talk, blah, blah, blah. She thinks her parents should get another trial. I posted a post pertaining to this dizzy ass woman talking about her parents. She's also talking about her life without them. She's 12 years old. Your parents are accused of fraud, lady, not paying their taxes, doing basically, I guess, what these people have done. The Halfords got free money from the government, lied for whatever reason they needed the money for, spending it on this, and this, vacations, trips, blah, blah, blah. Your parents, basically the same, going to banks to get loans and not paying them money, probably lying about their income. And you're sitting here saying in front of the courthouse, they need to get a new trial. It is time for you to realize that, one, you're an adult. Your parents were adults when they committed the fraud, and that was their choice to do that. And the fact that you're taking care of a younger sibling should show you that your parents are irresponsible and they are not right upstairs. Okay? They have decided to do what they wanted to do as far as defrauding banks. That was a choice. Nobody put a gun to their head and told them to do that. So you're getting on TV going on and on and on about your life without your parents and blah, blah, blah. And I know you have to take care of that child, your sibling, noble of you, but you are trying to glaze over the fact that your parents broke the law. And there are laws about getting money from the government or banks fraudulently, lying on documents about your income, your reasons for needing the money. Because anybody can lie and say, okay, I'm going to remodel my house. Okay? You go to the bank, they approve you. Well, you're actually supposed to be taking that money to remodel your house, but naturally a person could take it to buy cosmetic surgery, take a couple of trips around the world or New York, wherever, and then they can cry later and say they can't make the payments. That's a personal choice. So I feel like your parents have been living fraudulently, living a lifestyle they could not afford. It has caught up with them. They obviously owe the IRS or some government entity money. That's a choice. And you need to stop going on TV crying about your parents because you act like you're 12 years old and you need mommy and daddy. Are you tired of taking care of your sister? Maybe. Maybe you don't feel like you were ready to take care of your sister. I understand all of that. But don't compare taking care of the sister to, oh, my parents should be free. No, your parents shouldn't be free. Because if they took money fraudulently, if they owe taxes, if they owe the government taxes, the government has the right to seize properties, try to get that money back, try to also make a deal with you if they can, and they also have the right to incarcerate you. So this is the choice that the courts have rendered. And you need to accept that. You don't have to like it. Hell, you don't have to respect it if you don't want. The point is, it's not your journey. You're just coming in, I guess, at what they would call the fall girl, because you now have to take care of a child. That's your sibling. But the point is, your parents did this, and that's the bottom line. Hello, everybody. Should the misfits receive the death penalty? 81% yes, 19% no. Should Lleilani, the calls, 911 call and interview be suppressed? I put yay instead of yes. Yes, 0%, no, 100%. So you all don't believe the 911 call and the interview should be suppressed, interviews. Did the judge give Robin Howington enough time in prison? As I stated before, she got her verdict, yesterday? Here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Criminal court judge gave her 22 years on the said charges of child neglect. I think she should have done the other ones. They should have been, as what they call it, consecutively. It was 3 here, 3 here, 3 here for this, this, and this, lying, filing a false report. All those should have been tacked on to the 22. That's my personal opinion. Basically, 67% of you said yes. The judge gave the right sentence, and 33% of you said no. Only 3 of you voted on that one. Was BK stargazing the night of the Idaho 4 murders? 0% said yes, 100% no, 10 votes. Yeah, he wasn't stargazing. And they're now trying to say, his attorney, Miss Annie Taylor, that the pings from his phone are not the actual pings that the district attorney has gathered for their case. So I don't know what phone polls Annie is speaking of. Maybe she's speaking of phone polls from Washington State. Sorry about my lighting. It keeps going in and out. Hello, got 34 in the room. Thank you, thank you. Sorry, so dark, everybody. It's really well lit in here. It's just where I am, I guess. It's my phone keeps blinking in and out. Sorry about that. Okay. So 100% you do not believe he was stargazing. Anywho, Annie's trying to say the data is not accurate. That the data that the state has pinging him near the kid's home in the vicinity in Moscow is inaccurate. She has another set of data that will put him elsewhere, if you believe that BS. Do you believe Riley told mom the night of his disappearance that his drink tasted like barbecue? As you know, this is what she said happened in a phone call between she and he. Was it a phone call or an actual text? And do you believe it? 80% of you said yes, 13% of you said no, 7% of you are not sure. Should the Goldmans and the Browns receive money from OJ's estate? Yes, 85%. No, 15%. Thank you so much for taking these polls. Just going through all of them. And I've got a few updates, pertaining to Robin Hamilton, who got 22 years in prison for the death of her daughter, Destiny, in 2019. Also, a man telling his story about his wife dying from eating sushi last year. Very heartbreaking story. And also the guy who unalived himself outside of the courthouse where Trump was going to trial. This is a wicked, wicked situation. I've posted the content to my page. His neighbors have spoken out, and they said he was on probation, so he was glad that he was able to go to New York. So now you got to ask yourself, did he actually intend to kill himself, or did he get to New York and decide he's looking around at whatever is going on in New York, plus the Trump trial, whatever, he decides to unalive himself? He believes that, I guess, the Democrats and the Republicans are in it together, that it's some type of fascist coup, whatever that's supposed to mean, and he unalived himself, and he has died, for those who did not know that. I'm trying to figure out what was really going on with him. But he has died from his injuries. And this guy who runs this God Misfits group, he and his wife, he has spoken to News Nation, and he is claiming not to know the Misfits, never heard of them, never talked to them. I guess he never said where he lived, but he's saying he don't know them at all, never talked to any of them, and he doesn't know if they were following him or a part of his Facebook group. What else do I have? There's also, yesterday, there was an altercation of some sort at the state's attorney's office in Oklahoma near the Capitol, which I found that very interesting. They had the parking lot roped off, but they won't tell us what that's all about. Also, some older woman has dumped her baby in an airport trash can. She looks a little too old to be having babies. So obviously she's still fertile. And Sebastian Rogers' father has decided to fire his private investigators and hire 2 new ones. Where are they from? And why did he fire the ones that he had? I didn't even know he had any private investigators. It shows you how much I know. All right. And please check out my content. Cleaning your house. This is a good season to start cleaning your house and throwing out trash, cleaning your windows inside, outside, and getting rid of old clothes, shoes, debris, products you don't use, biohazards that's, unhealthy for you to inhale and your pets. Did OJ regret the burglary at the hotel? 16% yes, 33% no, 4% not sure, and 47% only getting caught, but not the crime. Wow, interesting. And a lot of you voted on that one. So 33% of you said no, he did not regret it. Okay. Only that he got caught was the highest percentage, 47%. Did OJ have remorse for unaliving Nicole and Ron, for those of you who believe that he did kill these two individuals? Yes, 8%. No, 82%. 10% not sure. Did OJ Simpson's children believe he was innocent of the murders? Yes, 16%. 39% no. Only the younger two children, those are by Nicole, 12%. Not sure, 28%. Only the oldest two, 5%. Wow, that's a low percentage. So on the older two children, you all said 5% that they possibly believe their father was innocent. Interesting. Should Lorena Bobbitt have received a prison sentence instead of a 45-day stay in a mental hospital for cutting off her then husband's private part? Yes, 48%. No, 47%. 5% not sure. So you all were neck to neck on yes and no of her getting a sentence. Did John Bobbitt frequently sexually assault Lorena? 70% of you said yes, 11% no, 18% not sure. Lorena Bobbitt claims her ex-husband assaulted her, later goes into the kitchen to get a knife, returns to the bedroom, and proceeds to cut his private part off. Is she telling the truth? 87% yes, 10% no, 3% not sure. Your thoughts on Riley Strain's case. New info of a phone call between he and mom where he told her his drink tasted like barbecue. Drugged. Was he drugged? 65% of you said yes. Not drugged, 3%. Don't believe mom's story, 3%. Drugged, but don't believe mom's story, 3%. And not sure of either info, 28%. Wow, but 65% of you do believe he told his mother about the conversation about the drink tasting like barbecue. John Bobbitt wants an apology from ex-wife Lorena. Why ask now? Problems with his anatomy? Should she give it to him? 14% of you said she should, yes, and 86% of you said no. Should the Brown Goldmans move on from seeking money from O.J. Simpson now that he is deceased? 41% yes, 51% no, 7% not sure. Will the Brown Goldmans seek monies from O.J. Simpson's estate? 84% of you said yes, 11% of you said no, and 5% of you are not sure. Did O.J. Simpson ever confess to someone about the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman? 47% yes, 35% no, 18% not sure. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you all for taking these polls. Just going down my list on my community page to see what all I've posted as far as polls. And I also, almost a week ago, talked to you all about the Menendez brothers. Should they get a new trial with this new information of their father sexually assaulting one of the Menudo brothers, I keep saying brothers, Menudo members, Mr. Rosello, claims that Mr. Jose sexually assaulted him as a child. So should the Menendez brothers get a new trial on this new information, new allegation? 56% of you said yes, 36% of you said no, 9% of you are not sure. Will Menendez be free from new Menudo bandmates allegation against Jose? Sorry about that. 36% said yes, 31% said no, 33% of you are not sure. Why Menendez brothers murdered their parents? Sexual assault, 42%. Greed, 20%. Both, 25%. Not sure, 14%. Do you believe Menudo member number 2 and freelance photographer, confirming assault allegations against Menudo founder, Mr. Diaz. So the guy who founded the group, and he was also the band manager, Mr. Diaz, due to the allegations that Mr. Rosello says he touched him inappropriately, and also another member. 77% says yes, 8% no, 15% not sure, and also Rosello claimed on a talk show that Ricky Martin told him that he also touched him. But Ricky Martin has not spoken if that's true, that he was touched, or that he told Mr. Rosello that information. Did Jose Menendez and band manager Diaz assault ex-Menudo member? 76% yes, 20% not sure. Jose assaulted him only, 0%. Ex-manager Diaz, 4%. Wow, very interesting. Did Kitty Menendez assault or exhibited inappropriate behavior with her son or sons? Yes, 47%. 24% no, 29% not sure. Did Jose Menendez assault his boy children? 81% yes, 8% no, 11% not sure. Wow. Woo, what a hot mess. And also Ruby Frankie's husband wants to sue Hildebrandt's estate. I think he's trying to get out of paying child support to the state. And also he's supposed to pay for their therapy to children. And this is his way of having to not pay out his own pocket, is to sue Jody Hildebrandt. Naturally, he's still married to his wife, so he's entitled to anything that she owns, which would be any funds still coming in from any entity she had, her savings. She doesn't have the YouTube channel anymore that I know of, because I think YouTube took it down, so he wouldn't get any money from that. But anywho, whatever she had in savings, Mr. Frankie's entitled to that. So the next best option was to sue Jody Hildebrandt. Did she have any monies tied in with Miss Jody Hildebrandt and her company? Connections. Curious. All right. Sade Robinson is the next content, everybody. Thank you for joining me. More body parts have surfaced pertaining to this young lady, and we're going to digest that said information. The guy who set himself on fire in New York outside the Trump trial, he favors Henry Winkler. Take a good look at his picture. It's uncanny. He favors him. Very scary. And I saw this story last night about a black man who put antifreeze in a newborn's bottle because he didn't want to pay child support. The mother had to go run some errands or take care of something, so she left the baby with the baby daddy. They were co-workers. He also had another woman too, so they believe that might be the motive of why he tried to kill the kid. But what person puts antifreeze in a baby's bottle? Well, this black fool did. What a hot mess. All right. You can't make this stuff up. I can't find the information about, well, this is strange because I had it in here. Oh, Lordy, Lordy. They also now have a video release pertaining to Sade Robinson's car being seen leaving Maxwell Anderson's house. Feel free to check that out in the YouTube queue. So they're projecting she was deceased. So how did her car move? Because he was driving it. Of course. I don't see my Sade Robinson information. It should be up here. Oh, I think I didn't share it. Hold on, everybody. Five teenagers shot outside of Washington, D.C. There was a senior skip day. And somebody shot 5 children, 5 boy children. Don't know what that's all about. They're looking for a suspect right now. At least 500 kids were in a park trying to enjoy themselves. Senior skip day. And something happened. Somebody had a gun and shot 5 children. Don't know the races of all the children. But I know they're all boys that were shot. All right, everybody. Let's hear what the mother has to say about this investigation pertaining to the remains found.
As the story continues to unfold here in Milwaukee, it's also garnering national attention. Sade Robinson's mother, Sheena Scarborough, spoke with Nancy Grace on her podcast. Jenna Ray joins us live in studio with what she had to say there. Jenna?
Steve, I did speak with Sheena this morning, but she says she's just not ready to talk with us yet following today's disturbing discovery.
Hey, everybody.
During her emotional interview with Nancy Grace, Sheena continues to call for justice for her daughter.
This is traumatizing, Nancy. I never expected this to pull up my front door.
An unimaginable couple of weeks for Sade Robinson's mother, Sheena Scarborough.
This isn't normal. This is a 2024 Jeffrey Dahmer.
A comparison many are making as Sade's
2024.
body parts keep turning up across Milwaukee County.
Last time I spoke to my daughter was on Easter Sunday, okay? We seen her. She came by my parents' home. We spent the Sunday together.
The next day, on April 1st, is when Sade was first reported missing. It's also the night we now know
Sorry about that,
she
Lighty.
was killed.
Sade was a beautiful soul. She was an amazing girl. I couldn't have asked
Esley,
for
what you talking
any
about?
better daughter. There was things my daughter did that many adults were not even able to accomplish in their lifetimes.
Sade was set to graduate with her associate's degree next month.
This has caused so much emotional effect to my family or my parents who love my baby so much. Her grandparents, her uncles, her aunties, the community. Everyone pulled up. This has affected many people in Milwaukee.
Over the last several weeks, friends and family of Sade have spent countless hours searching for her body to give her the proper burial she deserves.
They mess with the wrong family. We're going to call all of them out. We're going to speak for the whole community. Because I'm not about to sit down and I'm not about to sit still on this one. It's justice for Sade, Nancy. It's justice.
Wow.
Justice for Sade, that phrase echoing across our community as friends, family, and volunteers continue their search and can seriously refuse to give up. It's a story that we're going to continue following, Stu.
You were out there at the beach today as well as people were searching. What was it like to see people there with rakes and
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Happy Saturday. Hey.
I think it's just emotional for everyone. Even being at the scene myself, you can feel the emotion, you can feel the dedication of the people searching. Again, people who didn't even know Sade are coming out, they're helping this family, they're helping the family's friends, all to make sure that she is brought back together as a whole. And you can really just feel the entire Milwaukee community coming together for that.
That family at least that bit of peace.
All right, so that was Sade's mother speaking about more body parts coming forward. They have found more body parts belonging to the young lady, Sade Robinson. Just a recap of the case. A black young lady, went on a date with a white male. They later went to a seafood restaurant. From there, they went to his home. And in about a 3-hour span, from the time she got there to the video of her car going through an alley, is when they project that she was unalived by Mr. Anderson in his home and or dismembered by Mr. Anderson. So the mother has spoken to Nancy Grace that he picked the wrong family. He picked the wrong victim, and this victim's family, they are going to get justice for her, as they should. Thank God she has family members that care and are out here vigorously looking for all her body parts and rallying for justice for her, because there are many people who go missing and there's nobody rallying for them. There's nobody looking for them. This is not the case with Sade Robinson's family and friends, co-workers. Even the job shut down for 3 days when she didn't show up for work. You rarely hear people shutting down a business. Piece of shuttle. Kudos to you all for showing the love and respect for this young lady. What happened in his house, apartment? They say he had a sex dungeon. What all was in there? Has he hurt any other women? So far, I haven't heard that the police chief believe that there are other victims harmed by Mr. Anderson. So what happened? Will we get information that somebody's going to come forward and tell us that he's talked disturbingly of hurting women, torture, binding, unaliving, and then dismembering? What are we going to find in his Google searches, private files, information, what he was following on YouTube, Facebook? Who is Maxwell Anderson? My understanding is that he was a bartender and also worked at a seafood restaurant. I think it's the same restaurant where they went to eat. How scary would that be to know he has served you drinks, he has served you food, or was the waiter or manager? I don't know what his position was at the restaurant. But just imagine he was the person that cooked your food. Now you find out, oh, he's unalived the young lady and dismembered her and cut her up. How long has he had these thoughts? Because, it's a build-up to do this type of behavior when it comes to unaliving and torture, dismembering body parts. You don't wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to kill a person and unalive, you know what I'm saying, and then cut them up. You've been thinking about this. How long has he been thinking about this? Did he tell anybody he was thinking about this? Who is Maxwell Anderson? All right. 19 hours ago, water search for the young lady
continues for the remains of Sade Robinson. Today, deputies went out searching the depths of Lake Michigan. Bill Miston takes us now to the water where the investigation continues.
The search for the rest of Sade Robinson's remains in Lake Michigan continued Friday. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office called in a volunteer group from Black River Falls, specialized in recovery operations.
It's a needle in a haystack.
Thank you all for joining me.
Trying to figure out, what we could see in there, and if there's anything in there. That's the big thing with this case, is not 100% sure that where the rest of the stuff's at.
Keith Cormican, another volunteer with Bruce's Legacy, and the sheriff's
That don't
deputy
sound good.
spent hours just offshore from Warnemount Park, first using towable sonar.
I was really hoping that it was going to be a lot sandier.
But the rocky shallows didn't give them a clear picture.
This is the sonar right here. This is the camera, and then the lights, and then the grabber.
So they turned to a remote vehicle.
Searching by, with a camera. Nothing was found today. It's tough searching in the rocks like that when we're looking for small items.
Prosecutors say Maxwell Anderson killed Sade Robinson. Her severed leg was first found in the area on April 2nd, and the torso and arm, believed to be Robinson's, were found Thursday morning, washed up along a remote portion of beach in South Milwaukee. The group is named after Bruce Cormican, Keith's brother, a firefighter who died after a water rescue years ago. Keith runs the search and rescue organization in his brother's memory, but after several hours, the group packed up and pulled out.
This case is just horrible. I just can't even imagine the family having to deal with what they've had to deal with. We tend to try to drive harder to help them find everything they need. The worst part is not being able to find what we're looking for.
But says they're ready to come back if and when they get the call.
That was our Bill Miston reporting. Anderson is due back in court on Monday. Tonight, Sade Robinson's family will be holding a memorial at Kilbourne Reservoir Park.
All right. Here we go. More body parts found. Thank you for joining Fox News Milwaukee. It's the source, everybody.
Story tonight at 5, Milwaukee County investigators found more remains believed to belong to Sade Robinson.
She, of course, is the 19-year-old woman police say was killed and dismembered after a first date. Menzel says live in South Milwaukee. That's where those body parts were found. Christina, what do we know?
Ted, when it comes to this area, it's technically closed off, but people who live around here say many still walk along the shoreline and to the beach. Investigators tell us that they already had scheduled a sonar boat detection to go out and search Lake Michigan tomorrow before this discovery. But
Terrible
today,
news.
Sade Robinson's loved ones were out here searching for any additional clues they could find. Just the brutality of everything.
It's an investigation leaving people in Milwaukee County speechless.
Cutting up someone's body is just, it's hard to even say the words.
Investigators say
You don't approve of what?
the beach spotted human remains around 7:30 Thursday morning. The sheriff's office says a torso and arm were found, believed to belong to Sade Robinson. She is the 19-year-old authorities say was killed and dismembered on April 1st.
And I think I'm grateful that they're finding more of her remains. Hopefully that'll bring closure to the family, but it doesn't make it any easier.
33-year-old Maxwell Anderson is the man charged. Investigators say the two were on a first date. It comes after weeks of searches for the rest of her remains. Robinson's leg was found in Warmont Park in Cudahy, and then additional remains were found in 3 locations in Milwaukee County.
It's scary nowadays that you have to worry about stuff like that.
Thursday, the Anderson family issued a statement before the additional remains were found. It reads in part, "I would like to express our deepest sympathy and heartfelt condolences to the family and loved ones of Sade Robinson. We are shocked and devastated by her senseless death, and we join the entire community in celebrating Sade's life." Robinson's loved ones search the area and say they won't find closure until all of her remains are found.
The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone, if you have something that can help their investigation, give them a call. You can even do that anonymously. As for Maxwell Anderson, he is due back in court on Monday. Reporting live in South Milwaukee, Christina Van Zelst, Fox 6 News.
All right, so here we have a torso and an arm found this time along the shore. Beautiful area. As most of you know, I'm from up north. I am from the Great Lakes, Chicago. Been in Tennessee a very long time, but Chicago is always home. Milwaukee is next door. Wisconsin, rather, is next door to Illinois. This is disturbing information because you now got to figure out, if you care, who this man is. Why did he choose her? Is he known to date black women? Does he like black women? Does he not like black women? Or is it going to be anybody that just went on a date with him? He wanted to try this out. That's why there are questions if he's done this type of behavior before, this type of crime, rather. Has he assaulted women, number one? Bound, gagged, sexually assaulted, tortured, dismembered? Has he hurt someone before, but they got away, or he let them go? This time he took it further. Okay, I won't have a witness. I won't have anybody to go say I did this to them, because a lot of crimes escalate depending on if a charge is brought forward. So let's say a guy assaulted a woman and he is truthful, and then he's arrested. He's going to court. No matter what happens during that procedure, he may grow in his mind, I know who I am. I know I'm a sadist. I will do this again, but I won't get caught. Is that what has happened to this man? It's been a buildup of him wanting to assault a woman, bind, whatever, torture, and then unalive her, dismember her. Because a dead person can't talk. They can't speak. I cut them up. But he didn't cut her up and just throw her somewhere where nobody could find her. He didn't take her, 25 miles out, 30 miles out. He threw her out as if he wanted her to be found. That's how I feel. The blanket that was found with her dog's picture on it, her picture, that's, to me, you want people to see who she is. So if a leg or arm is right near that blanket, you're going to, use deduction. Okay, here's a blanket, here's a face, here's a picture of a puppy. The dog's deceased. She made the blanket. Here's a leg over here, a few feet, yards away. You see where I'm going? I think he wanted her to be found. He wanted to make a name for himself. Now, does he have a mental disorder? Bipolar, schizophrenia, psychopath, sociopath, whatever? I don't know. But to me, the throwing her out visibly and apart, lying the blanket out neatly, as they said, it seems deliberate. He wanted you to know of his handiwork. My sister married a black guy and he treats her well, and they've been married for years. You say you don't approve of the crime? I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. You don't approve of what? You don't approve of murder? Murdering a black woman? What? Dismembering a person? What are you saying? I'm trying to get an understanding. Thank you all so much for joining me. That's the latest content. Torso, arm found of Sade Robinson. Mother has spoken that he picked the wrong victim. They want justice. They're going to continue to look for her. I want to thank this boat cavalry that's gone out to look for her in the big, vast lake. Lake Michigan is big. It neighbors several states, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, okay? So this is noble of them to go out here in the water and try to find remains of her. You know, I don't know how deep the lake goes, but this is scary. And then we don't know the mind of this fool. We know he's off. He's shown us that he's off, but we don't know exactly where every body part is. So now we got to ask, how many body parts do they have of her so far? Because 2 are named here, and I could have sworn maybe 2 or so were named days ago. This is very disturbing information. Let's get down to Leilani Simon, everybody. Thank you for joining. That's the latest nonsense coming out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Prayers to the family that they get justice and that they get all the remains so they can have a proper burial for their loved one. Leilani Simon's attorneys want to suppress the 911 call and the interview, okay? So this is just absolutely crazy, this nonsense. An angry person. How am I angry? Because I'm asking you a question. I'm not angry. You're not making any sense. You're saying what you don't approve of. I don't know what you're speaking of. I don't know if you're talking about the content. I don't know if you're talking about the people in the story, that the fact that he's white, she's black, that they were dating. You didn't make yourself clear. So how am I angry? Because I'm asking you questions. That's why you shouldn't comment and you don't make yourself clear. You can't get mad because somebody's asking you what it is that you're speaking of. Everybody knows how I rock over here at this network. Obviously, you're not familiar with the Queen. I don't let people put things in the comment section and just let it float out there. I ask you questions. Oh, what are you speaking of? You never made yourself clear. So I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with somebody in the comment section about their comment and they can't explain what they're saying. You know, you're too old for that. All right, let's get to the court proceeding pertaining to blocking out this interview 911 call. Let me say this before I play this content. Lleilani, you called 911 of your own free will, you and the boyfriend. You all claim to not have seen the child that morning. That was a choice. Nobody put a gun to your head. They had no reason to read you your Miranda warning, your rights, because you were making a call to say, oh, my child is missing. So there's no reason to read the Miranda warning. You only get the Miranda warning read if they have evidence to show that you have committed a crime. So your initial call to 911 is just that, an initial phone call. So I don't know why your attorneys think this is getting ready to be thrown out. You and the boyfriend calling 911. This is ridiculous. Your interviews with the police, that is their job to interview you because you called the police to say your child is missing. See, these are the things people do when they know they're guilty and they know the evidence has been discovered that they have been lying, and you will hear this in this testimony. They found out that she's lying. That is why she has been arrested for murdering her child. There is surveillance showing her at a trailer park disposing of her child and whatever else evidentiary they found at the house. So now you know what they have on you. So your lawyers want to say, well, we want to suppress the interview. We want to suppress the 911 call. This is lunacy, okay? Absolute lunacy. But that's the defense's job, is to try to get everything thrown out that could incriminate his or her client. Court TV is the source, everybody.
And you said it was made by Daniel Luckett and Leilani Simon.
Yes, they're both here on
And what was the nature of the call?
It was mainly Daniel speaking, but basically he was saying that they could not find their 20-month-old son and that the front door was open.
And the defendant herself,
Yes.
if you heard portions of that call as well, is that right?
She can.
Okay. This has been introduced as a Exhibit 1, Your Honor, at this time I've asked to publish this to the court.
And you have tendered 1 through 32. Is there any objection to those exhibits coming in?
not for limited purposes of this hearing, Judge, and that, so I understand the court has to look at them, hear them, see them. So as far as this hearing, that's fine.
It would be for the limited purpose of this hearing. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dean.
Then we have published it too.
Yes.
38:37 seconds, October 5, 2022.
Crazy. Yes, exactly.
I think we stopped to play back somewhere around 2 minutes after. Now, she could be heard on that call saying, I can't find my child, please. Right?
Yes.
So she, at least for that phone call, she wanted the police to come to her house.
Yes.
Sometime after that phone call, did patrol officers respond?
They did.
Did they make contact with the defendant?
Yes.
Where did they make contact with the defendant?
So on the right side of the house is the main driveway, which the family kind of uses as their front entrance area. So the family was waiting there.
If we could please publish State's Exhibit 2, this is an excerpt from some body on camera footage of responding officers.
Okay, without objection, please proceed.
Crazy. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
She's seen a car sitting out front about 2 weeks ago.
You can
Here you have a 911 call. Court TV is the source if you'd like to listen to the entire footage of this proceeding. A young man is speaking about what she told him, that a car had been sitting outside 2 weeks before, so the car was suspicious to her. Naturally, we can't see her crying. You have him talking to the operator. You have her crying in the background. It's all an act. It's all an act. It's obvious because we're now looking at a woman who's incarcerated, in jail, in scrubs, jail scrubs, jailhouse scrubs. So you wouldn't be there by what, accident? No, of course not. Not to say that The judicial system couldn't get it wrong, but they have evidence to say that you did unalive your boy child. Common sense. That's why we're here today. That's why she's in the courtroom. But the 911 call is being played, and they want this call suppressed. They want interviews suppressed. But as the law stipulates, you called us. We didn't call you. We didn't come look for you. We didn't come to investigate a crime on our own. You called us. So you invited us into your space to investigate after a 911 call, which is what you're listening to here. You willingly spoke with us pertaining to the disappearance of your child on your own. At no point did you turn us down. So why should this information be thrown out by a judge? It should not, because she was not coerced to, number one, call 911. Number two, to continue to talk to law enforcement about her child. And you heard that infamous interview with her stupid mother standing beside her, who also should be charged as well, alongside her, because she had custody of her. If they find anything that I did that was wrong, then I will go down there and turn myself in. Who says that? You're reporting your child missing, and then you wait a while to give an interview and say, well, if you find out, I guess you're talking to the police, the detectives. If you find out I've done something wrong, then I will go turn myself in. No, heifer, you ain't got to turn yourself in, because we're going to come get you. Now, we might do you a courtesy call since you've done this kind of interview to the news. So we'll call and tell you, we need you to come on down because we got a warrant for your arrest. So you either come on down or we'll come get you. See, this is foolishness. That's how you knew she was guilty. She is guilty, present day. Because you don't go do an interview and say, if I've done something, if you find that I've done something pertaining to my child wrong, then I'll turn myself in. Well, why would you say that? If you know you haven't hurt your child, you haven't harmed your child, you do not go in front of a live feed and say, if you find something against me, wrongdoing, then I will go turn myself in. Who does that? Except somebody guilty who doesn't know how to talk, don't know how to conduct themselves. And I will tell you, if you go back in and watch this content from Court TV, she's looking around like a duck out of water. She's got those glasses on. Have you ever noticed that? Most people that go to jail, they always get glasses, because that means they were walking around this whole time half damn blind. And you're asking yourself, damn, you didn't know you couldn't see? Oh, now you're locked up, you got glasses. Some could say, you don't need to see nothing in there, because you ain't going nowhere to do nothing. You're lucky if they give you a TV to watch during your free time in the day room. So you understand what I'm saying? What you need glasses for? But that's from your kind taxpayers to help aid the people when they need medicine, eyewear, so on and so forth. Stop the BS. That's all she's doing in the courtroom. Looking around. Like, you know, somebody that just woke up out of a coma. Where am I? You in court. You in court is where you are. And after the proceedings, you going back to your cell. Checkmate.
So in this look, we see that the defendant met the patrol officers in the driveway, right?
Yes,
Or she came to them.
yes.
And they hardly had to ask her any kind of question at all. She just started talking.
What'd you think of that call? What do you think of Leilani Simon? Stand by, my friends. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we're going to see prosecutors introduce a series of recorded police interviews with the defendant after that frantic 911 call.
All right, a brief intermission, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault XL. Happy Saturday, two-part live with updates and polls. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this live stream to get the set information from the polls and updates to breaking news and stories. They also are posted to my community board. Thank you.
Let's get you back into Tuesday's big hearing in the landfill murder case. The victim,
Oh, I'm sure he was.
Quinton Simon. Now, there was questioning of case detective Marion Lemons during this hearing. You're going to see her on the stand. And prosecutors, through her testimony, introduced a series of recorded interviews with defendant Leilani Simon, the child's mother. Now, this was conducted by a responding officer on the scene, and in the portion that we're about to watch together, Leilani Simon recalls the last time that she saw her 20-month-old son.
At some point, did detectives show up?
Yeah.
And who were the first detectives on scene for the Chatham County Police Department?
It was Detective Lopez and Detective Cole.
And did they interview some of the people that were on scene?
They did.
The defendant,
Yes.
Daniel Youngkin,
Yes.
and I think also Paul Simon, the brother.
I believe so.
Okay. Was that interview recorded?
Yes, it was.
How was it recorded?
So I think part of it was captured on the patrol officer's body cameras, and then the rest was on the handheld audio recording device.
Now, those interviews, I'll just note for the court, are included, that interviews included the spaces in the exhibit. They admitted. Now, did they ask her, did she tell them when she had gone to bed and when she had woken up?
Yes.
Okay. Can we please publish State's Exhibit 3 starting at 2 minutes and 10 seconds in? Or thereabouts. Yeah, that's right.
Where's your fiance? That's him? I'll be with you in just a second, sir. I'm just gonna ask you a few questions once I'm done with her, okay? Alright. So when's the last time you saw your shot? When I went to bed last night. And what time was that? Around 12. 12? Okay. I listened to you yesterday.
Right now, she's sitting in interrogation pertaining to the disappearance of her child. Should Billy Joe Howe be on trial with her daughter, Leilani Simon? Because she is the one who had initial custody of, I believe, 2 of the children. So we have a child that went missing, fake report by the mother, Leilani Simon, and then the child is later found in a landfill. Evidence that she dumped the child in a dumpster, which went to the landfill. Long search for the baby, over a month, because I can't remember the days. It was a lot of days, which was damn near 2 months. They searched for the child, and they found that baby. Now imagine the conditions that they found the baby in the landfill. Picking piece by piece of trash, debris in a stinky biohazard landfill for a baby boy. A child who couldn't defend himself. A child who was obviously not loved, not wanted. A mother chose to murder him instead of her other children. People are going to ask that question, why him? The point is, why any child? But naturally, you're going to ask why that baby? Because she and Billy Joe were not getting along, and Billy Joe wanted her out of that house. She wasn't working. She wasn't productive. She wasn't going to school. She wasn't doing anything. I don't know how it was going to work anyway, because Billy Joe, you were never around to take care of any of the children. So the ones that you had custody of, how are you going to raise them even if she had moved out with the infant child that belonged to Mr. Youngkin? You weren't going to be home. So what were you going to do? Use the babysitter down the street to be the mother of the children while you and your husband lived somewhere here in the United States in a camper while being gone 5 days out of the week? That's not child rearing. You were throwing those kids off on that lady down the street, and she caught pure hell up here on YouTube. That's why I say you have got to think about the choices you make in life, because her helping Leilani, Billy Joe, look what it cost her in the end. A lot of flack by people. Getting threats, getting harassed by Billy Joe breaking in her house, busting in the door. I'd have laid her ass out. She sat there in that recliner, didn't do nothing. I'd have got up and I'd have went and got me something. I'd have beat the hell out of her, because that's my house. Once you open that door, you are mine. And I'd have kindly called 911 and told them, I got a package here you need to pick up. That's what that big girl should have done. See, Billy Joe is a bully. She's been a bully. Probably groomed to be a bully. In and out of jail, staying in trouble, doing God knows what while rearing her children. Didn't rear children at one point because she was incarcerated. Billy Joe is a bully. And that daughter should have known this is not the best environment for my children to be raised in because me and my mother, we don't get along, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't working out. And Billy Joe wanted her out of her house. That is why she killed that kid. Because she knew she was not going to be able to go out here to the street and take care of 3 children, not working, no school, and no money. Boyfriend probably barely making a few dollars an hour. Because let's be truthful, if Youngkin was really on top of his shit, they wouldn't have been living with Billy Joe in the first place.
All right, that's good. I get you. Listen, I have them too.
Sorry, I got this morning about 9.
About 9?
And my front door is open, so I went up and I shut not thinking about anything like that. And I looked over and checked my kids and he was fine. Oh, this there. He was fine.
It's all right, it's all right. Take some deep breaths. I'll start that.
We started to play back at 2:57. So she spoke to Detective Wilkins literally, right?
She did.
He did not force anything out of her.
No.
And she told him that she found it at midnight. Is that right? For around midnight?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did officers on scene, well, let me ask you this. Did she have a car at this time?
She did.
What type of car?
It is a Dodge Journey.
At some point, did officers on scene become aware that that car had been out driving around at a period in the early morning hours of October 5th? It was after the time that she said she had gone to bed.
Yes.
Can you tell us how that played out?
So the initial officers, including the lieutenant, the time Lieutenant Foster, relayed information about what was going on at the scene, such as the vehicle's tag numbers. Those tag numbers were taken by one of the detectives, still at the office, Detective Robbins, and she ran them in the flock camera system and saw that the vehicles were moving beyond what Ms. Leilani initially said.
Specifically the jury.
Yes.
What is the flock camera system?
Yeah, it's I believe it's like a neighborhood camera system. It basically will take a photograph of a vehicle's license plate as it passes by the camera, and it's stored for law enforcement to later look at.
And you can search it by tag?
We can.
Okay. Now, did that information get back to Foster that car had been out in the early morning hours?
Pinto.
Yeah, this is
Stop.
how I'm going to object again. We seem to be getting far afield from a voluntariness question here. We wanted to evidence they wish this is a trial. So I don't really see the relevance of any of this. And, you know, this is my objection.
We're talking in the chat about Billy Joe's charge. She was arrested, and I can't remember if it was after the baby was found or before the baby was found. I have to go in here and pull it up. Hold on, let me pull it up. Right now they're in court discussing her interviews with the police because this is the information that she wants redacted from the proceedings trial. Thank you.
The very next question.
Pull it up.
Did Lieutenant Foster go and talk to you about that?
Okay.
Did you ask her a question? Did she answer it?
Let's go ahead.
What does that look like? All of this bears directly on voluntariness.
Okay.
And I understand they're not trying to suppress that. I understand that. But the voluntariness of her statements that day, to contextualize what brought her to the police department and how she was receptive of police questioning. And I do think it is important to look at what kicked this investigation off, and that she was answering questions willingly on scene and had in fact brought the police.
Okay, brief intermission. This is from December 15th, 2022, about a year, couple months. Billy Joe was arrested for violating a court order, okay? She was jailed for 10 days, see? It's been such a while, I can't remember. Her mugshot shows her wearing a suicide prevention smock, remember that. According to the Chatham County Sheriff's Office, Juvenile Court Judge Lindretta Grendel Kramer found her in contempt of court and sentenced her to 10 days in jail. Betterton is due to be released December 22nd. WJCL 22 News is told that Betterton has had no contact with her daughter, Leilani Simon and is being held in a separate unit. It's unclear what order Betterson was accused of violating. See? They didn't say. Once again, Simon has been indicted on 19 counts, including murder and the death of her son, Quinton. Quinton was reported missing. The morning of October 5th, Billy Joe Betterson's Buckhalter Rose homes, where the child was living. Leilani Simon lived there with Quinton, her children, and her boyfriend, and also her brother was also living there. I threw that in there. Some of Quinton's remains were found weeks later in Chatham County landfill. So here you hear they say some. Well, you have to use deduction of what the child would have been like, one, going in a dumpster, of how he got in the dumpster, the state of his body when he got dumped, what he was dumped in, the crushing of debris when the dump truck picks up the trash and then naturally taking it to the site. According to District Attorney Shalina Cook Jones, Leilani Simon intentionally caused Quinton's death, and the indictments, plural, allege Leilani dumped his body into a dumpster at a mobile park off of Ogeechee Road, roughly 3 miles from the family's Buckhalter Road home. Leilani Simon was denied bond during our hearing on December 6th. She's due back in court February 13, 2023. We are now into 2024. She is currently in court fighting for her freedom, and that is the said information. Anyhow, lose my train of thought with this stupid nonsense in the chat. What was the court order that Billy Joe violated? The court order may have been she wasn't supposed to have her daughter around the children. So see, we were always trying to wrangle with why she had the children and why would she be having the daughter in the house with the children, knew they didn't get along, and then you're somewhere in the United States with your husband working, knowing you had full custody of the children, but yet you had the mother there, okay? What I'm saying is, if you ain't got custody of a child and you went to fight because the mother was unfit or did not take care of the child, common sense would tell you, legally, a judge would have said to her, well, she is not supposed to be alone with the child unattended. So if Billy Joe went before the court to say she's unfit, blah, 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 the judge agreed or she willingly signed documents, however it went, you're not supposed to have her around those kids. Because in order to go to court and ask for custody, the judge has to ask you, well, why do you want custody of the children? And then he'd have to also, or she, ask the mother, why are you giving up custody? So if this was willing between the two, okay, mama, I give you custody, let's go there. Was this an even exchange for them? Or the mother saw that something wasn't right with her raising the children, and she said, well, I'm gonna take you to court, blah, blah, blah. Because you know she's a bully, she probably bullied her. See, we don't really know. We don't really know if she took her to court because she was unfit, she did it for monetary gain, or number two, her and Lleilani had an agreement. But still the judge would ask each party questions pertaining to their behavior, any allegations. See, we don't know because when it comes to court dealing with children, you're never going to get the whole truth because they're not allowed to tell you anything about what happens during custody disputes and arguments. And you're dealing with two liars. So how are you going to get the truth? Leilani's a liar, her mother's a liar. Her mother has had no regard for her children. So she raised her children to be wayward. She has a son who's incarcerated now for murder. Now she has a daughter incarcerated for murder. So the mother was wayward, Billy Joe. Then you have to go back in the book to see how Billy Joe was raised. So she probably didn't have a good upbringing with her mother, father. So then she goes out into the world and does the same damn thing. Probably a repeat of how her mom and daddy raised her. Now she's got two fucking kids who are incarcerated for murder because they didn't get what they needed from Billy Joe. And that's Billy Joe's fault. But when you become an adult, people expect you to act as so. Doesn't mean that you're equipped because you're grown. You know, you're 18, you're grown. You're 20, you're grown, so on and so forth. But grown doesn't mean you're mentally grown. You have to learn things in life if you have not been taught. So people just don't go out and just tell you everything you need to do once you become grown. they can guide you once you become an adult. You know, keep up your hygiene, brush your teeth, respect your elders, keep a clean house. But there are other things that come along with child rearing. So when your children get grown, more than likely, they don't want to get any advice from a parent. So they don't want to hear you tell them about how to act in a relationship, how you should treat people in a relationship, get up and go to work, show up on time, show up to your classes, keep your appointments. You see where I'm going? The things that keep you grounded to stay afloat out here. A lot of things people learn on their own once they're grown. And that's where we all fall short at some point. It's the learning on our own. What was the court order? I do not know. But this information I brought you is from WJCL.com from December 2022.
Okay, Mr. Hilliard.
Your Honor, when it comes to questions of voluntariness, the question of voluntariness is simple. Was it a voluntary encounter between the police and the defendant? The context of that encounter is irrelevant. If the defendant is brought to that encounter in handcuffs for not free to leave, then it makes it a custodial encounter. Just that simple. We don't need to know what they had for lunch. We don't need to know whether or not their car worked. We don't need to know who lived in the house.
They're bickering.
We don't need to know the context of that particular encounter between the police and the defendant.
Thank you. I'm going to sustain the objection.
All right, we're listening to this.
Hot mess.
Taking back to law school and criminal procedure class. I remember my professor saying it very succinctly. Custody plus interrogation equals the need for Miranda, right? You know the warnings pursuant to Miranda versus Arizona, custody plus interrogation. You got to have those two things in order to trigger those warnings that are necessary. Let's talk a little bit more about what is needed, you know, a knowing, intelligent, involuntary statement. What do we need in order to get that, to have the admissibility here? We have two great guests to talk about it with us. They both are practicing criminal defense attorneys in the private sector. We have attorney Michael Riley joining us and attorney Matthew Mangino, who also previously served as a district attorney in Pennsylvania. Great to see you both this morning. Okay, Matthew Mangino, I'd love to start with you, please. Kind of take us back to law school. Some of the things we're thinking about here as we analyze what Leilani Simon said and whether or not the court can consider it.
Well, Julie, you being a former prosecutor yourself, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, what we're talking about here when we're dealing with issues of suppression of statements is, was the statement free and voluntary? Was the statement made during a custodial interrogation? And a custodial interrogation is one in which the defendant is not free to leave and is being interrogated, being asked potentially incriminating questions. So how do you determine if an interrogation is custodial? You know, was the defendant brought to the police station in a police car? Was the defendant or the suspect handcuffed? Were they not free to leave? You know, were they questioned by somebody wearing a police uniform with a badge and a gun? If it is that type of situation, then the police are responsible for giving those well-known Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to, you know, not to be interrogated without your attorney being present. And if that situation exists, that custodial interrogation exists, it's required that that defendant be Mirandized. If she isn't, those statements are subject to suppression.
Matthew, thank you kindly for that. Oh boy, excellent explanation right there. And so now let's take it a step further. Michael Riley, so knowing all of that, we've got the premise, we know what the law provides here. Do you think the defense team has a leg to stand on here in possibly getting some of this thrown out and not coming before the jury at the time Leilani Simon goes to trial?
Thanks, Julie. I do not think that they have a leg to stand on. We're looking at this Miranda inquiry. Was it a custodial interrogation? I agree with everything that's been said so far. There's also this question about voluntariness. Was this a voluntarily made statement by Leilani Simon? And as the prosecutor is pointing out in court, she calls the police. She essentially draws them in, brings them to her house, and gives them the story. And part of that story is that she went to bed at midnight, and they can show that she's lying about that because there's evidence to show that she was driving around after she told the police she was in bed. So I think that it's very clear that this statement was voluntarily made. And in fact, it sounds like it was made in an effort to cover up her involvement in the death of her son.
Exactly, Mike. False statements. She's got a real problem if the statements are coming in and if they're untrue. Very problematic, as you both know, for her as she heads to trial. May little Quinton Simon get justice.
Amen.
Mike Riley, Matthew
Amen.
Benzino, thank you both. Stand by, please. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we're going to see the case detective outlining Leilani Simon's demeanor during those interviews after the disappearance of her baby. Her child. She's charged with murdering her own child. And we're going to hear more of those revealing recordings when we come back.
We heard they were going back and forth in court over who said what, this and that, and what they're talking about, being descriptive, of the 911 calls, her attorneys, quipping back and forth with the judge and the state. The point is she did call and said her child was missing. That's the point. She willingly went and talked to law enforcement about the disappearance of her child. At any point, she could have denied speaking with law enforcement, but she knew how that would look. She knew it would look bad. I'm calling, but now I don't want to talk to the police. She knew what she was doing. But you see how it ended.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We're talking about defendant Leilani Simon. This woman is accused of murdering her little baby, Quinton Simon. And it was a big pretrial hearing on Tuesday. In the portion of the hearing you're about to see next, prosecutors presented another recorded police interview with Leilani Simon after her 20-month-old baby was reported missing.
Now, all throughout this, the first interview, the second interview, talking to her about doing this written statement, what sort of pattern on that?
Very casual. At this point, we're just collecting as much information as possible, relaying it to every party that needs to know.
Was it at all accusatory?
Not at this point.
Was anybody raising voices or anything like that?
No.
The written statement itself is included at State's Exhibit 12. Now, after the three written statements were done, what did you all as the investigative team do with them?
So we all reviewed them as a team, as there were some experts that the FBI had access to kind of discuss the next steps.
You were comparing them to each other?
Yes.
And especially what the writer had actually said in interviews to that.
Yes.
And while you were doing that, she was in the interview room with Officer Carlson, right?
I believe so.
And at some point when she was in there, she sort of opened up to Officer Carlson about some of her mental health issues, is that right?
Yes.
And this is information that she essentially volunteered, correct?
Yes.
And I will, I suppose because of some of the objections that have been raised at this point, I probably won't publish that part. But let me just ask you this. It starts with her saying to Carlson something like, this whole thing will be easier if they come back in so I have someone to talk to.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
Yes.
And if you watch that, the court watches it, the court will see that she would rather talk to you all than not.
Yes.
That's sort of the sense that you get from that.
It is.
Sometime shortly thereafter, she got a visit from Danny. Is that right?
Yes.
If we could please publish State's Exhibit 14.
Okay, so the last one was
State's Exhibit 13, I have in the exhibit list as disclosure to Officer Samantha Carlson with the time at which that occurred.
Okay, so we're moving now to 14. Okay, you may proceed.
That was Paul telling at the beginning that she has food on the way.
Totally so.
Good. All right, you can stop the playback at 46 seconds into that file. Okay, so she's not being communicative or anything like that, right?
No.
Paul's talking to her from the hallway. Danny's coming in to see her. Talk about how you took her out for a cigarette.
Yes.
And sometime shortly after that visit from Danny, she showed herself out for the cigarette.
She does.
And asked Officer Carlson if she wanted to come with her or something along those lines.
Yes.
If we could publish State's Exhibit 15, please.
Please proceed.
Do you have the tracking on you?
Leilani is being interviewed by the police. That is who you hear sobbing and talking, female voice. This is a court appearance from yesterday pertaining to Leilani Simon's attorneys wanting her 911 call and interviews with the police to be thrown out, not introduced into the trial. As you hear the state saying, everything she did was voluntary from the moment she called 911 to say her child was missing to her speaking with law enforcement. And naturally, you know to remain silent if you're an adult and you are ever interrogated by the police. If you ever decide to call the police, it is your choice whether you decide to speak and speak further with law enforcement. That is your right as a United States citizen. Please take the polls during this live stream. I forgot, I could put a poll in here. I will also post the same questions later for other people who do not follow this network or were not visible during this chat. Thank you for joining me.
So you know you step out there with me on a footwear sticker. That particular feels like somebody's.
So she wants to leave.
Sure.
She seems to know that.
Yes.
Sometime after that, you and Snyder interviewed her again in what I'm calling at State's Exhibit 16 CCPD interview 3, right?
Yes.
And about how long was this?
About 9.
What were y'all talking to her about this time?
So at this point, we've had confirmation that the child's father was at work during the time frame that we had.
I gotta ask, only 15 of you have voted, 49 watching. Who is unsure that Billy Joe shouldn't be on trial for murder of the baby? Now, initially she wasn't in town, so the law can say, well, we don't have proof that she was in town, number one, didn't know of a conspiracy to murder the child. Then you have to also say, did she know about the child being dead once she got back, but didn't tell police? I say she should be on trial because the children were in her custody and she deliberately left them with her daughter, knowing the child, her own child, had no business with those same grandchildren. So I feel like she's just as guilty and she needs to pay, justice needs to be served. Now, did she know when she got back to Savannah that her daughter murdered the kids? Did she ask her? Because please check out my content from 2 years ago, because I did a lot of content on this story. Did she ask her daughter if she murdered the boy? Did Lleilani tell her? And did the mother help cover it up and aid her? But when she got arrested, the mother kind of slacked off. And then later in December of 2022, 2 months later, Billy Joe Howe was arrested for violating a court order, but we do not know what the court order violation was for. Thank you all so much. Take a poll during this live stream. You're now listening to Court TV and the interrogation of Leilani Simon back in 2022 pertaining to the disappearance of her son.
At this point, we wanted to have more conversations about this timeline and what could happen.
This is disgusting, isn't it? I mean, this case is just incensed so many people who were invested in bringing little Quinton Simon home. And we heard of the disappearance, and then we later find out from police the little baby was put in a dumpster and then wound up in a landfill. And now his mom is going to be on trial for his murder very soon. Let's talk a little bit about these facts going before a jury and just how inflamed the members of the jury might be hearing all of this. Let's bring back in our guests, attorneys Matthew Mangino and Michael Riley on the program this morning. Matthew, let me go to you first here. Your thoughts on that, please.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole scenario, obviously, it's a tragic death, a 20-month-old child. But these statements that are inconsistent that were made immediately after, which are indicative of a cover-up, which in itself is indicative of consciousness of guilt, these facts are going to be are going to weigh heavy on this jury and have a real impact on it.
Most definitely, Matthew. And then I'm wondering, might we see Leilani Simon try to get some kind of a plea deal from the state? Michael Riley, I'd love to ask you about that, please. Your thoughts?
I certainly think she should explore a plea deal.
I'm going to go ahead and put that poll up.
These facts are really, really bad. Quinton was in a dumpster and then taken to a landfill. His remains found. These are ugly, ugly facts. And I think she should certainly explore the opportunity to take a deal and maybe have some hope of getting out of jail at some point in her life.
Mm-hmm. All right, they're talking about a plea deal. We're going to get to that after this poll. The first poll is, should BJ be on trial? The second poll, should BJ be on trial, Billy Joe Howe, because she's the one that had custody of the children. She had custody of 2 of the children, and the baby, the one that was about 5 months or so, was Mr. Youngkin's child, the boyfriend that was living in the house with him. So should Billy Joe be on trial as well? 78% yes, 10% no, 10% not sure out of 19 votes. The next poll is pertaining to a plea deal. Should she go to her lawyer and say she needs to ask for a plea? 10% yes, you all are going up and down. 92% no, 8% yes. You don't think she should get a plea by the state. So let's ask the state. Have you asked Lleilani offer her a plea? District Attorney. Have you asked Leilani Simon for a plea deal to plead guilty to the murder of her boy child? One would say if they asked, she said no. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, T. Thank you for joining me. Take the poll, everybody. Next question is going to be how much time she should get if found guilty by 12 members of the jury.
I think that would be great advice. I'm with you, Michael. Thank you for that. We've got to leave it there. Hopefully, little Quinton Simon gets justice. And let's remember, April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. I know both of my guests.
I'm going to play a little bit from the beginning, then I'm going to check out of here so you all can have a wonderful Saturday and I can enjoy a little sun. Queen needs some vitamin D like ASAP. Lord have mercy. ASAP. Take the polls, everybody. Should Lleilani get a plea deal? Should she go to the district attorney and bow down and say, yes, I killed this kid? Give me what you got. 2-part live, Sade Robinson. More body parts have surfaced on the shore of Lake Michigan. A torso and a leg have surfaced. How many more body parts are they looking for? Where are they? Sade Robinson, her mother has spoken. You'll hear her content, her speak in this live stream at the beginning of this live stream. Polls at the beginning of this live stream. Breaking news at the beginning of this live stream. And any subject I do not talk about, I post it to my community board as an update. So you can be aware of what's going on, but I don't talk about every subject matter in a video that I mentioned in a post. So we've talked about various updates during this live stream pertaining to the Colorado family, a couple who had 190 bodies in a funeral home out of Colorado. They have gone to court and pled not guilty, which is a disrespect to the dead because you claim to have this funeral home. I brought you information about O.J. Simpson, okay? Got a few other stories mixed in there. Tennessee laws pertaining to bail, bonds, just a lot of stuff that I don't do, a whole live on because you only got so much time in the day. But there is one story I'd like to bring, and I might try to squeeze it in this title if I can, pertaining to a dirty cop. I'll try to play that too, briefly. Just go ahead and make this all SmackDown Saturday. Thank you for joining me. I want to play some content from people who were rallying outside of the house. Many of you remember this story pertaining to Leilani, her mother, the shenanigans of the YouTubers down there, hooping and hollering. Well, it is what it is. People are outside rallying. I just want to play a little bit of that content of the people who are outside. Hold on.
What are you doing? What is going on here? Where's the FBI? Where's Secret Service? Somebody needs to find this baby and lock her up.
After that announcement, all eyes turned to Lleilani. Protesters, podcasters, and YouTubers gather outside of her home day and night. Nearly 3 weeks after Quinton was reported missing, Lleilani and her mother finally speak out in an interview with WTOC News.
If something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
If something comes up that I am at fault, I will take myself to the police department. Let's hear those lies again. Hold on one second.
WTOC News.
If something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Good. Well, something did come up, Leilani. Your son. They found pieces of your son in the landfill. So something came up. And now you're currently in a Savannah jail going to trial for your life for the murder of your child. You didn't have to kill him. First of all, you shouldn't have kept laying up having all these babies back to back. I'm going to say that because somebody needs to say it to you. Your mother was a baby maker. So was you. So you walked in the footsteps of Billy Joe Howe. You see how that turned out. You have a brother also incarcerated for murder. So now you and your brother are evenly yoked. Your demon spawns from a spawn. And that's my opinion of Leilani, her brother, and Billy Joe Howe. What is the relationship between Billy Joe Howe and her husband? Did they sell the house? Where are the other children? The 2 remaining children, who has them? Department of Human Services? Are they being treated well? Does Billy Joe Howe have access to the children? Visitation? Supervised visitation? Where's the brother who's living in the house? Number one, number 2, number 3. Was the house sold? Where is the brother? Where's Billy Joe and the husband? Where are they staying? So many questions, no answers. Amen. And Billy Joe, don't come over here because I know you like coming in the chat sometimes. You did a few years ago. You know you weren't welcome over here. It's the Vault XL now. Just giving you a heads up. Ain't got time for your shenanigans this year, sweetheart. Leilani Simon is on trial for her life. Accused of murdering her boy child, her toddler boy. Dumped him in a garbage can at a trailer park. I remember this event. I remember seeing a news broadcaster standing in front of a fence. I jogged my memory. I went to Google and I said, they're telling us a story without telling us the story. And the Queen put it together. I said, she's at that trailer park because when I went to Google, the trailer park sits next door to a gas station. And a news broadcaster went live right in front of the fence. And the first thing I said is, that's near the trailer park. You could walk from the trailer park into the fencing, into the gas station. but they never told us that. Now, there were people rumoring that the child was dumped. Somebody must have been talking on YouTube or social media about the trailer park and they having cameras. And then I went and took you all on a little tour. Please check out my older videos pertaining to this story, where I take you on a visual tour on the computer of the trailer park. Google is hellified. And then when you go and you see the area view of the trailer park, you get a visual that it's not too far from Buckhalter Road where she lived. You get to see the route she took that fateful morning to dump her child. You get to see the store right next door. You get to see all the dumpsters on the property and the layout. Oh yes, the Queen takes you on a tour. Please go back to my earlier content. Just put in the search engine, Quinton Simon, and my videos will pop up. She didn't go far to dump the baby. And little did she know there were cameras there to catch her dumping the child. And little did she know the news was giving us hints where the baby was dumped without telling us. That's why you have to pay attention to the background of a story. Always look at the background when they go live to bring you content about a murder, a homicide, a disappearance, because sometimes they give you the story without telling you where they are. And that's exactly what a news broadcaster did. And that's how I put it together. The baby was dumped at that trailer park garbage can, or the garbage can that sits basically probably in the parking lot of the store. Either or, it doesn't really matter. The point is she was seen dumping the child. That's the sad information. Let's see where we are with the poll. Should Lleilani get the plea deal? Get a plea deal. 88% no, 11% yes, 0% not sure. Last poll, how much time should she get? Thank you for joining me. How much time should she get? 25 to life? Life? Less than 20. Think about your answers very carefully. I'll put less than 25 since 25 starts out the life. Or you're not sure how much time she should get. Take the poll, everybody. 4 options. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, why are you having all those kids? You know you don't want to work, you don't want to go to school, you don't want to do anything with yourself, and you're having baby after baby after baby, different baby daddies. She implicated one baby daddy, the baby daddy of Quinton. He was nowhere around. He was in an entirely different state. So see, she was doing the same thing that this Robin Howington did here in Knoxville in unaliving her biracial 5-year-old daughter. I do believe Robin shot that 5-year-old girl in the face, point blank range. She tried to put it off on her son at the end of her storytelling to law enforcement. And then she had the nerve to fake cry in court yesterday when the judge told her, I don't think you cared then, and I don't think you care now. And that was my assertion of watching Robin Howington in court yesterday. She didn't care then, she didn't care yesterday or today. And I believe she deliberately shot her baby because she was tired of dealing with the baby daddy. So you can sit and swirl around in your head why these people killed their children. They have 1,000 reasons why they killed their children. You don't have to agree with it. The point is, you have no reason offing a child, abusing a child. People abuse the child because they don't want them. They don't want to pay child support. They don't want to give up custody. They don't want to stop getting a check or welfare for them. They don't want the other parent to have them. They don't want their grandparents or sister, brother, cousin to get them. Thousands of reasons people kidnap children. You had this case of a woman intervening in child custody a week ago with 3 children. 2 were found, and one, the older boy, I don't know where he was. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Found out they were hiding out here in Knoxville the whole time. Just a bunch of buffoonery. Now, the ones that are under 17, she'll probably never see them again until they're grown. So then you got to ask why she wanted to intercept custody and take the kids off. Why? She wanted more time to spend with them? What did she do for her not to have custody of her children? See, 1,000 questions you can ask in dealing with these custody cases. 13 votes, that's all I'm going to get. Come on, you guys. How much time should she get? Leilani Simon. 25 to life, 31. Life, 69%. Less than 25, 0. Not sure, 0. I really should have put death. I don't know if Georgia has a death penalty or not. That's my opinion, is what she should get. All right, one more tale before I check out of here, and I'll see if I can put it in my title. May not be able to. Just have to call it Dirty Cop. Yikes, yikes, yikes. What I'm about to say to you during this live stream, this brief moment, I'm going to try to get out of here. I'm almost at 2 hours, is a very disrespectful story to children. So if you have a problem with sexual content against children, please remove yourself from the chat. Okay? Just telling you now. Please remove yourself from the chat. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Still letting you all take that poll while I read you this information. This is subject number 3. True Crime Daily is the content holder. This is coming out of Lleilani, Pennsylvania. A 28-year-old police officer has been suspended from duty after he allegedly raped a 13-year-old girl in his care and caused severe injuries. According to a report from Pennsylvania State Police, members of the Lleilani Patrol responded to a report of severe bruising to a 13-month-old caused between April 11th and April 15th. The victim was transported to Hershey Medical Center, where medical staff determined the child had sustained broken bones and severe bruising. Criminal complaints reviewed by WHP-TV specified the injury, saying she suffered a broken tibia. And if you don't know what the tibia is, it's in your knee. So imagine a child, 13 months, getting her knee broke. I only know what the tibia is because when I was in college, I picked up someone from the airport. She was from Jersey, right before school started, second year of college, and she had fallen and broke her tibia, which is in your kneecap, for those who are near the knee. And also, she broke her fibula. Medical professionals also noticed the girl showed signs of sexual violence. The 13-month-old's mother told investigators the victim fell during bath time. She also reportedly went on to provide implausible explanations for several other injuries to the victim's body and said the family dog caused the child severe bruising. Where were the other bruises on the child's body? Arms, stomach, back, buttocks, legs, inner thighs, arms. Where are we talking? According to WHTN, the victim's mother also told authorities Cugini locked himself in the restroom with the child, and she could hear crying and loud sounds. Cugini eventually confessed to police that the victim sustained the injuries while he was watching her alone. Authorities did not specify Cugini's relationship to the child. Why not? Are you afraid to tell us that he's the father of the child? He's a boyfriend? Who is he? Is he a brother? What are we talking about? Who is the police officer to the baby girl? According to police, April 16th, the Dauphin County District Attorney's Office approved criminal charges against Cugini. WHTM reports that the suspect faces multiple charges, including RAPE of a child, aggravated indecent assault of a child, aggravated assault. He was booked into the Dauphin County Jail on a $200,000 bond. Cugini has been suspended pending the investigation. Muldrow said, "If these allegations are founded, trust and believe, I'll be the first to take swift and definitive action against them." I'm assuming that's the chief. I don't really know, don't care. Mr. Cugini, what is your problem? This is bad, 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 bad. Well, if I can hold it up. Let me end my last poll and then I'm going to go ham. Because you know I will. 1 second, please. Sade Robinson, body parts found on the shores of Lake Michigan. Custody, suspect in custody, a white man. Oh, Lord. Maxwell Anderson. Mother has spoken out. They're going to do everything they can. He picked the wrong victim, wrong family. They want justice for Sade Robinson. Went on a date with hell, a date to a death. Final date. Leilani Simon doesn't want interviews with the police, admitted in the court, or the 911 call. Tough cookie. How much time should Leilani get? 48%, 25 to life, 48% life, 4% not sure. Going to end that poll. Thank you for joining me. You have been listening to The Vault XL. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. What in the fuck is wrong with you, homeboy? Why would you want to sexually assault a 13-month-old baby girl? I want to be very respectful in what I'm trying to say during this live stream because I want to hurry up and get the hell off this box. Severe injuries is what was said during that content I just read to you. So use your deduction of what that means because you're going to have to ask yourself the obvious question. When we say severe injuries, what are we saying? Vagina or buttocks area? Anal area? Was the man well endowed? Because if you were well endowed, then we already know the rest in the shape that the child was in. Because I've heard of a really heinous case where the child was basically just damn near shredded. And I don't mean to be vulgar, but those things is what matters when you're talking about the age of the child, because naturally nobody is supposed to be entering a child body parts either by mouth, vagina, or tail. So when they say severe injuries, she obviously has a broken bone, knee, whatever, bruises to her body. Now you got to say bruises why? Did you penetrate her? Because I'm assuming that you did, sir. Why would you be penetrating a 13-month-old baby? For what reason, sir? Why are you not out here trying to sleep with a grown woman? Have you sexually assaulted other children before? Who are you to the child, sir? And mommy dearest, let me talk to your ass. You knew what was wrong with your baby because your baby isn't old enough to bathe herself. So therefore, you knew something was wrong with your baby arm, her neck, her head, her eyes, her ears, her legs, her hands, her feet. Did you hear what I said? You bathed your baby because she can't bathe herself. So you knew something was wrong with her private parts, ma'am. Her arm, her legs, so on and so forth. So you knew who you left your child with. And I understand that he was watching her on occasion or was bathing her, whatever he was doing to her in the bathroom. You heard her crying and you didn't think to go knock on the damn door to say, what the fuck is going on in there with my baby? So your ass needs to be whipped alongside Billy Joe Howe. Yeah, I'm checking all checkpoints today. You will continue to let a man assault your baby, beat your baby, and guess what? You probably was having sex with him if he is indeed your lover or the baby's daddy. Now we got to ask, do you have any more children? Ding, 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 ding. So do you have any more children, ma'am? Were there any other children in your possession? I didn't hear that there were any other children in the possession. I may do a separate live on this subject, possibly Monday, because I ain't touching this on no Sunday. Why would you allow a man to sexually assault your child and beat your child, ma'am? How long was it going on, ma'am? Were you also participating? Because we got those dual offenders, for those who didn't know. I feel like this. If you're willing to let somebody sexually abuse your child, you will possibly be the same person that will go along and sexually abuse your own child too, because we have seen it. We have seen it with children who were kidnapped. Both people interchangeably sexually assaulting the child. So, man, were you also doing it to your baby? Because why would you allow this grown-ass man to be doing things to your baby? You had to have known eventually your baby was going to have to go to the hospital. And the truth was going to come out because they were going to see why she's crying. So they would have to disrobe her. So I'm going to ask again, where were the bruises on the girl child? How long had this been going on? Heifer. The world is jacked up. Sexual assault, incest, rape, bondage, torture, dismembering people, poisoning people, shooting people, gang banging. That's an assortment of shit going on out here. The world is worse than it probably has ever been. And naturally, when Adam and Eve ate off the tree, people were doing nefarious deeds even then in biblical days. But this is out of control here. What people are doing present day. And free to share what they've been doing with others in underground groups, trading pictures of children, pornography, revenge porn. You have all types of people out here. This is why I say you don't know people. You don't know what people are capable of. Now, where is the child? Is she with a relative or is she in foster care? Is she healing properly? Because I don't know how severe the damage is. I don't want to know. And I'm assuming this is a police official speaking about what they're going to do to him. What you going to do to him? Fire him? You're not getting ready to hang him from a tree or exact the firing squad. So what's your point? Solitary confinement? Did he bond out? Just curious. Oh, it's been dark. That's the point. Every day it's the same BS. This is why I try to zone out. This is why this week I could not bring content. I literally did not have the strength to talk about these stories because I have my own dilemmas to deal with, my own demons, okay? And every day it gets old talking about children being assaulted, being abused, grown people being assaulted, being abused. And as I've told you before during my live streams, do not think you cannot be a victim of crime. Just because you hear some whack story of somebody overdosing or somebody got sexually assaulted at a party, somebody went to a bar and ended up in a river, don't ever say it can't be you. Because you don't know how you're going to leave here. You could be abiding by the law. You could be thinking you're living right. You could think you're in good company. You're not going to know until you're in that situation. You can be sexually assaulted. You can be dismembered. You can be unalived. You can have a home invasion. You can walk out, a piano falls off a roof. All types of things can happen to you. And you could be actually minding your damn business. But the devil doesn't care because he works for free and he uses minions who don't realize they're working for free. And they're out to seek and destroy. That is Satan's job. And if you don't believe in the devil, I feel sorry for you because he is real too. And that's what you have right now. There's no reason for this man to be sexually touching a baby. That leads you to now ask the question, how many children has he assaulted? Boys, girls? Was he also sexually assaulted as a child? Because usually that's where it comes from. Will we hear that he has also been accused of messing with other people's children? Did this woman have any more children? Is this his child? Does he have any other outside children? The questions are endless. Wow, 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 wow. Let's see what else we can find. Thank you for joining me. It's bad. Hello, thank you all. I cannot. Let me see if I can get his name. All right, everybody. Found a little bit of information here. 1 second. It's bad business. Thank you so kindly. I don't know why it's not popping up. YouTube is so funny about content. Come on now. It's not coming up. Looks like there's a new update pertaining to Rex Heuermann. Lord have mercy, what is it now? Rex Heuermann demands FBI files ahead of Gilgo Beach murder trial. Okay. I'm trying to find this story. Update pertaining to this sex trafficking case of the mother and son in Texas. Teen not charged. Why not? Allegedly, she used him to lure the kids to her. Very interesting. And also, the country singer star who I talked about, can't even think of his name. He's apologized to everyone he felt like he needed to apologize to pertaining to throwing that chair off a rooftop bar in Nashville, Tennessee. You all know who I'm talking about. I got so much on my mind I can't think of everybody's damn name. We'll talk about him as well. I'm trying to figure out. Because it's not coming up in my database. For some reason, I don't know why. Here we go.
Police affidavit alleges 28-year-old Stephen Cugini, a now suspended York City police officer, raped and sexually assaulted his girlfriend's 1-year-old baby girl over the past several days. Cugini is locked up in Dauphin County Prison on $200,000 bail. Court documents allege Stephen Cugini committed the crimes in Elizabethville, Dauphin County, and Springettsbury Township, York County, during the past several days. The abuse caused significant injuries to the baby. A Pennsylvania State Police Affidavit shows a daycare worker at the YMCA in Halifax noticed serious injuries to the 13-month-old baby girl after she was dropped off Monday morning. The worker called police. The court records show a trooper found bruises all over the baby, including the face, head, and vaginal area. She was taken to Penn State Hershey Medical Center, where a doctor found the baby's leg was broken and she was the victim of sexual violence. The baby's mother initially told police the bruising happened during a fall in the bathtub at their Elizabethville home, and later due to an accident with the family dog. Police say Cugini made similar statements, but investigators revealed text messages retrieved from the mother's phone show Cugini acknowledging responsibility for the baby's bruise. David states Cugini told police on Tuesday the injuries occurred while he was caring for the child alone. York's Police Commissioner Michael Muldrow sent a statement to News 8, reading in part, "If the allegations are founded, trust and believe I'll be the first to take swift and definitive action against them."
That's Commissioner.
And no one was at the Elizabethville home when we went there and knocked on the door. The daycare did not wish to comment about the case. Live in Dauphin County, Barbara Barr, News 8.
All right. That's the sad information. So, Mr. Cugini basically texted the mother acknowledging that he hurt the girl child. What was her response? What did she say in response to him admitting to hurting her baby? Why didn't you, ma'am, go to the police when you saw the bruising on your child? You heard this information in the affidavit of where the child was abused, vaginally, body, head, wherever. You had to have known somebody abused your child. You know who you last had your child with. So now we learned that the child went to daycare. So that leaves daycare workers, the mother, boyfriend, or whomever else the child was around. So we have the daycare calling, which was the right thing to do, because you don't want to be at fault for being accused of abusing a baby on your shift, on your watch. You did the right thing. So obviously, daycare workers are removed. Acknowledgement from the boyfriend. Cop. A dirty cop. Oh yeah, I said that. I said it with pride. A dirty cop. Thank you, sweetheart. A dirty cop sexually assaulting a 1-year-old. 13 months is a 1-year-old. Hello. What could you see in a baby? You're too old and you know better. So it doesn't matter if she was 1, if she was 10, 5, 16, you know better. And the mother, you know better. Because now we got to ask ourselves, how long was the child walking around bruised up and sexually assaulted before the daycare called the police? Oh, shit. How long was the abuse going on, ma'am, before the daycare called? Because now we got to say, damn, if the child's going to daycare, so all these bruises happened one day, and then you dropped off the baby and then saw all the bruises that one time? Because I don't want to find out that the daycare saw bruising before and didn't say nothing and then waited. So how did it really go? Because I have to think about that for just a second. It's a one-time bruises. Because if the baby goes to the daycare every day, is this a one-time event of bruises? But then you got to ask about the woo-ha, the private parts. If you've been sexually abusing her in her front and her back, a person changing her diaper would have to see something ain't right here. Oh, shit. The plot thickens. So are we going to find out that the child has been seen with bruises and sexual assault to her front, back, and they still waited before calling 911 or confronting the mother? So now I got to talk to the daycare. Did you notice bruising and sexual assault in her private parts before the day you called 911? Because I got to now try to assess, was this the first time he put his private parts on a baby? Oh, mercy. Because then that means the daycare, you are just as liable if the doctor can find out and assess that her bruising is old and new. Oh, nobody thought about that, did you? Are her bruises old and new? She's got them mixed in. Some have healed, some are new. So that means everybody knew the baby was battered and sexually battered. And who else goes in this woman's house? Apartment? House? What? Who else lives there? How long has this man been sexually assaulting young children, babies? What the fuck is your problem? And what's wrong with the mama? This is what I'm saying. You always have to pay attention to the details because this is where the truth lies, is at the beginning of the story. If this has been going on, then everybody has played a role in knowing that the baby was damaged goods and didn't say nothing. Because I can tell you now, if I change your pamper first time, I don't give a damn whose baby it is. If I change your pamper and I see something nefarious downtown or in your rear region, I'm calling 911 to the one, and the baby is not coming back to my domain. Hell no. So this is what I'm saying. Battered one time or more than once. Because if it's more than once, everybody knew. It's a bad situation. Prayers to the baby, wherever she is. Prayers for her safety. Prayers for her healing. And frankly, I don't want to say what I want to say without being disrespectful, but it's better that she's at the age of being assaulted to where she doesn't know. Not saying she didn't feel any pain, okay? To whatever he was doing to her. But what I'm saying is better than her being at an age where she knows what's going on with her body. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's one, she's not going to remember this possibly. Older, she would remember. 7, 8-year-old, you're going to remember this. One, she probably won't have a memory. Disgusting as the act is of the mother and the boyfriend, I wouldn't want her to know what has been done to her until somebody decides to tell her later down the road. If you see violence against a child, verbal, mental, sexual, physically, call 911. I tell people this all the time during the live stream, bypass, calling DHS. When you see it visually, you're not hearing it from Pookie, Ray Ray, and none of that nonsense. You are visually seeing a beat up child, a black eye. Something's not right in the personal region. Call 911 because then the police will come and then they will bring a worker and then that child will seek medical attention and then the rest is history. And there doesn't have to be this long-winded cat and mouse game with phone calls, emails, waiting to see what happened, looking out the window to see if the police coming to their door. Fuck all that. I'm sick of all that old song and dance nonsense. What I keep trying to tell people, you see abuse of a child, call. You see abuse of an elderly person, mentally challenged person, you call the police. Fuck all that calling adult protective services and all that. Just make the call. Yeah, they doing this over here. You better hurry up. Click, hang up the phone. End the conversation. No more song and dance. No more cat and mouse, song and dance, game of chess, checkers. Do the right thing. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. That's my content on 28-year-old Cugini, whatever his name is. The commissioner, New York commissioner of the police department says they will follow everything to the highest extent of the law if indeed he is guilty of the said crimes against the girl child. We will also wait to see if there will be charges against the mother, because there should be charges, because if this goes on past a 2-day interval of a weekend type situation, then she's liable. And also that means the daycare is liable too if this incident took place during the week. See, that's what you got to get. You got to get a timeline. You got to get a timeline of the abuse. You got to get a timeline if there's old wounds, new wounds. Because if they got wounds to show this shit went on a week ago to a month, everybody is liable. Because everybody's had access to the child. Everybody has changed the child, bathed the child. You're not going to be able to explain that legally to a sane judge. An ethical, sane judge. Thank you all so much for following this network. Welcome new subscribers, new guests. Thank you for the mod T in the chat. Thank you all for following and listening to the content. Any story I don't cover, I will post it to my community board. So feel free to go into the YouTube queue to get the said information. This was a now 3-part live pertaining to Sade Robinson, who was missing out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Body parts have floated up in or near the Michigan shore, Lake Michigan shore. Now a torso and leg has been discovered. Sonar boats have gone out allegedly today to look for more of her remains. Her mother has spoken to the general public that Mr. Maxwell Anderson picked the wrong victim and the wrong family to mess with. Amen. Leilani Simon on trial for the murder of her toddler boy, Quinton Simon, who was found in a dumpster. Well, discarded in a dumpster and then found in a landfill in Savannah, Georgia back in 2022, October. Or was it October, November? She wants 911 call, the 911 call and her interviews with the police to be suppressed. Hell no, they're not being suppressed because you willingly talk to law enforcement. You willingly call the dispatch. It's a wrap. Take a plea. If they want to offer you one, I say don't, because I want you to do all the time. I want 12 members of the jury to hear your lies on tape, the evidence at the house, cell phone records, and also Mr. Youngkin, you're part of the problem too, and I believe maybe your ass needs to be strung up with her, because the 911 call, you're saying you were there and saw the baby. So a video says she dropped the baby off in the wee hours in a dumpster at a trailer park. So how did you see the baby at 6 a.m.? Let me make sure I throw that in here before I jump off this live. How did you see the baby on your way to work, sir, if the baby's already dead in a trash bin? I'll wait. See, we questioned all this over a year and a half ago. Who knew who and who knew what? And there's also a brother there in the house. What does he know? Paul, I believe that's his name. What does he know? Because right now he's got 2 siblings that are murderers. So Paul, what do you know? What did you know? What did you hear? There was no door open. Nobody kidnapped the kid. Baby daddy didn't come take the child. He's been pushed to the back burner, exempt. So boyfriend, Mr. Youngkin, what do you know about this dead kid? Did you plot also with her? Did she tell you she killed the kid? Did you all plot together to get rid of the kid? Because they also believe the child was battered. Oh, I left that out. So now you're going to sit here in your right mind, like what you're hearing about this 13-month-old being sexually assaulted and beat up with a broken damn knee, leg. How this baby, he got toddler, how he get beat up? Because they believe you use a blunt object. So now that makes me wonder what they found at the house for evidentiary material, or you texted, or you Googled, or you looked up something, or you took a picture, or you took a video. How far this down the abyss are we going to go with this Quinton Simon? Because in order for the state to come and start talking about blunt objects, head trauma, we also got to count what process goes on inside of a dumpster, what the child was put in, being crushed, compacted in a dumpster, plus the process of the trash being dumped into the dump truck, and what the dump truck itself does to trash to compress it as so other trash can be put into the dumpster. And then discarding it at the landfill, smoothing it out to lay extra trash, because it's a process when it goes to the landfill. So now I say to the district attorney, What in the hell do you have against this heifer to show she battered her baby before death? And with what? Because people are going to ask. And this is the scary part of the story. If they have evidence, what they will show in court, the reaction from this goofy heathen here, Lleilani, and how we'll be able to stomach it thereafter. And what will she say? Nothing. Will she testify on her behalf? Because remember what she said in this commentary played by Court TV. If something comes up that I'm at fault, I'll turn myself in. Always remember that. If something comes up, yeah, something came up. Some remains came up in the landfill. And they have evidence that you beat this child with something. So what was that, Leilani? And Mr. Youngkin, once again, what is your role in the death of Quinton Simon? Because I believe you know more than what has been told. Now, they have not arrested you. But I asked myself this the other day when this content was playing. If I'm to believe that somebody came in and took the boy child, number one, why would they choose that child? How did they get in without breaking and entering? Where were the other two children sleeping? Oh, shit. That's why you got to pay attention. 3 babies, 2 adults, all sleeping in a common room on the bottom level, I think close to that door, perhaps, the entryway, however it's situated. Why that child and where were the other 2 babies to even fathom a kidnapping? Was Quinton sleeping in a playpen? Hell, a makeshift bed, a pallet on the floor, blow-up bed, toy bed, what? Where did all the children sleep? I'm very curious. That's been on my mind, or it crossed my mind. Where did all the children sleep in this common open room made into a bedroom? Basically a makeshift room that's on the bottom level of the house. All of them were sleeping in this common room, open area. Never heard that there were doors or anything, or makeshift doors, screens, whatever. So now you got to ask that question. Where did all the children sleep? In a playpen together? Did they only sleep with the newborn in the bed with them, and then put the other 2 children in a playpen or a makeshift bed or a pallet on the floor, a toy bed? What? Because that's going to play out in court as well. Because if they ask her, where did all your children sleep? And she says, oh, they all slept together. Then the state's going to say, well, why would somebody come in and take that little boy out of the bed, playpen, pallet, blow-up mattress, whatever? Exactly. Thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.